Hello friends, welcome back to Coding Techniques again. Today I'm going to teach you how to work with the Google Places API and how to get all the results which you are looking for when you search for it. So let's get started. Now you can see I have already created a new project and I have already got my Google Maps API. If you do not know how to get the Google Maps API, you can just look into my other videos where I have shown how to get the Google Maps API. The link is there in the description, or you can just click on the I button too. Now, after getting the API, you need to make sure that you enable the the Places API and also the Geocode API. Let's get started now. So in the blank project, which I have created just now, I have cleared up everything from the SCSS and also from the HTML part. And this is how it is running into our browser. I have run Ionic serve here. Now let's get started with Google Maps API designing it first. So Google Places, that's the title that I'm going to give, and let me change the color to be the primary one so that it looks nice, because we have to design it properly, right? Now this is the iOS mode. This is iPhone 13. Now I'm going to create another toolbar for our search bar, because that's where we are going to make the search button. So Ion search bar I'm going to use. You can just check the documentation if you don't understand something, but it's pretty easy. I'm sure you will understand each and everything here. Now within the search bar, we can give certain fields, or I would say properties. Let me just pass off those which I want. Now I want search icon to be changed to search circle. Now you can see this is search circle that is coming up. Animation to true. Suppose if you click on it, it will animate to the left side. That is how it is looking nice. Then clear button focus. If you just click on it and type something here, the button is coming up, that is trash bin, and the focus is always there. So that is what it is showing up. I think clear button focus. Okay, fine. Then the bounce I have given of 800 milliseconds, because I want, after typing, it takes some time to render it up. Otherwise, if I type, it will keep on rendering the stuff, which I don't want. When I stop for like some milliseconds, then only I want it to get triggered. That is why. Then after that, a placeholder is being given. That's pretty okay. Now there is one important thing. I want to track for the change detection here, for which I can use Ion change. But in Ion change, there is a problem that if you just type something, it will not detect instantly until and unless you press the enter. That is the newest, in the newest version, this is a thing that they have introduced, and for overcoming that, you can use Ion input here. So we are going to try both of them. Let's work with this at first. So let me pass a function here in the Ion change called on search change, or you can give any name you want. Now within the TypeScript, let's create that on search change event, and let's log the value of it. Event, you will get certain errors, and for overcoming that errors, you simply go to tsconfig.json file and set this strict to false. Otherwise, strictly type checking will be done for in the TypeScript one, and you will get certain error because we have not initialized it to any value. If you don't want those errors, definitely you can pass like a string or any value, like you can pass any also here. I think that error will go away if I just change it to true again. I don't think there will be any error now. Okay, since I didn't give anything, that is why the error was coming up. Now I have changed back to false because I want to keep it as false only for the timing. Okay, now let's check it out. Suppose, and how will I check it? Let me open this up. Okay, now if I just type here something AA, until and unless I hit enter, it won't detect. So now I'll just hit enter, and you can see event is getting triggered, in which I am getting the value in the detail.value. Okay, this is the value that is coming up. Now, if I change this to Ion input, let me minimize it and try it again. For the HTML, if I change it to Ion input, let's track it now. I'll open it up, and if I just type here AA, once again, I have not clicked enter and it is detected automatically. So this is working, but in real-time scenario, Ion input is not that efficient to work with. That is why I think Ion change is fine to work with. So hitting an enter button is quite okay. You will get the keyboard one where you can click on the search one and you can start working with it. I think that is better. But anyways, that's completely your choice. For the time being, I'll just keep it as Ion input only, just for you to understand and work with it properly. Now let's start with the Google Maps API, for which in the index.html, I just commented it and I'm uncommenting this particular script, in which this is the URL where I'm going to pass the API key here, and you can pass this. You can see places library I'm using, and a callback is being passed, which is a noob one, means no operation will be done, just passing it. Otherwise I was getting some warnings. That is why I just don't want those warnings, for which you can pass it up. Okay, once that is done, I think we are good to go. You just need to pass your API key. I'll pass my API key here. And if you want this script to be done dynamically, you can do it from the TypeScript one, which I'll not cover up in this particular video. Okay, so now let's move ahead, and I'll just place my API and start working with it. So in order to start working with it, at first for the designing part, you can see this is not aligned properly for iOS, right? So in order to align the search bar at the center, what am I going to do? I'm going to look for the size of it. Let's search for it. What am I going to do? I'll just click here and look for this particular value. What is coming up? You can see it is having a padding top 1 and at the bottom 15. So I can in total of 16. So I will give 8 to both sides. Let's do it. Let me go to SCSS, and only for iOS I need to pass .ios, and within that I can directly access the Ion search bar. Okay, where I'm going to pass padding to be top and bottom 8 pixels and otherwise 12 pixels. That was already given by default. Now you can see it is centered up nicely, isn't it? So once that is done, let me prepare a list also. What am I going to do? I'm going to prepare an Ion list within which I'm going to have an Ion item where I'll pass an Ion icon whose name is going to be location outline, and slot will be start. Okay, let me just close it. So this will be my icon that will be coming up here, and along with that I want an Ion label too, where I'm going to pass the title and everything. So I can have that. Let me pass title here. So this will be coming up here. Okay, and along with that you can even have a p tag also, not exactly in this manner. Let me enter, and p tag where I'll have an Ion text. You can change the color because of that, and I'm going to pass the description here, means the address part and everything. All right, so that's what you can do. Okay, so our design is ready. Now we need to make it dynamic here, for which I'll go to the its TS file, and here, well, I'm going to create an array here called places array of type any, that will be initialized to an empty array initially. I'll go to the HTML again, and I'll give a condition here, ng if places $.length should be greater than 0, then only it's going to work. And in the Ion item, I'm going to run a loop here, let place of places. Okay, so this is done. Now here I'm going to pass place $.title. That's what I'm going to have the value to be. Okay, don't worry. And let me give here place, okay, places, place $.description or address, maybe any one of those. I'll just check it. Okay, so now you won't see anything here. Okay, great. So what next I need to do? Well, let's go to the TypeScript now, and in the TypeScript, in order to work with the Google Maps, I'll just use declare a variable called Google. That's how we can do it in JavaScript, and we can start working with it. Now I'll just call implements on init, and even I would need on destroy. Don't worry, I'll tell you why I need all those. First, let me have it ng on init and ng on destroy. Both of them are ready now. So we have the places array here. Now on change, what I need to do, let's work on that. I have to get the value of this particular query that I'm passing there. So let me have a variable called, or property called query, which will be of type string here, and I'm going to initialize a value of it to event.detail.value. We have already seen that. Let me make it a sync. Now I'm going to call this particular function here, get places, if the query length is greater than 0. If you don't have any query, definitely I don't want any places to be searched for. Okay, and in the places I don't need to pass it, actually I can directly use it. So this dot places, get places is the function name that I need. Let's work with this particular function now. Now everything will be done within a try catch block, async await try catch. I want to track each and every error if there is any. Okay. At first, I will initialize a service here that will be taking the autocomplete service from the Google Places API. Okay. This is how you can initialize it, and this Google is coming up from the declaration that we have given here, and it's going to run from the index HTML script that we have passed for the Google Maps API. All right, so it's going to work in that particular manner. Now, in fact, I would get some error also because I am using in the HTML ngIf and ngFor, that is a part of common module, as I'm using standalone one. So we need to pass it directly here, common module. Now there won't be any error. Otherwise, you might face some error here, which we have not seen, but you might be looking into that mostly. Anyways, now that will be solved. So this is the first step which we need to make in order to fetch that service for auto completion one of the places. After doing that, what am I going to do? Well, I'll get the predictions here. Service.get places prediction. That's what I'm going to use, within which I can pass certain property. So I'm going to pass in the input this dot query. That's what I need to pass here for the input one, and you can pass some restrictions also for the country wise. Let me just show you if you want to. This is how you can pass the restrictions for the country part. If you want a specific country to be called, means of places from that country only, definitely you can use this API. Means this particular stuff, you can just uncomment it and use it up. Alright, moving ahead. Now this particular stuff will give us a callback in which we will get predictions, and then this will be the callback in which we are going to work with the other stuff or the functionality actually. So let me initialize a variable called autocomplete items, where I'll get all the places one by one because it's going to generate one by one. And after doing that, I'll have all the other functionality within the zone, NZ zone, because it will detect the changes. So in order to use that, well, you can simply try without it also, but I want to use that private zone ng zone. Okay, this is imported from where it is at Angular/core. Okay, and once that is done, I'm directly going to use it. I'm going to run this up in this particular manner, within which what am I going to do? I'm at first going to check if there are some predictions. That means predictions is not null. Then only I'm going to go ahead. Okay, once I go ahead with it, I want to modify these predictions. If you don't want that, definitely you can directly pass these predictions here because it is going to give you the whole array. But I want to like modify it, so I'm going to use a for each loop here in order to modify this particular stuff. So I'm using this for each one, and within this I will be passing, in order to get the lat and long, I will be using this particular code. So in this particular code, in order to get the lat and long, I'm going to use a function called geocode, in which I'm going to pass the description within the prediction here. Don't worry, you will see what is there in the console log. Then I'm creating an object in which the title, address, lat, long will be prepared in this particular manner. If you don't want this, you can skip this part. Then we'll get each and every places, and then finally I'm going to push that in this particular autocomplete items array. Now you can use mapping also here, but in the mapping we don't use async await. That is why I think for each is fine here. Alright, now let me work with the geocode functionality here in order to get the lat and long. That is also a part of Google Maps only. So you need to enable Google geocode, or you can use native geocoder plugin also from Cordova one. In Capacitor also you can use that. So you can use that also if you want, but with browser, if you want to work with browser also, definitely this geocode functionality from the Google Maps is much better. So you need to enable that also in the Google Maps. Now let me directly pass the functionality for this particular one here in this manner. Okay, this will be my geocode where I'll just pass the address and I'll get lat and long in this particular manner, which will be an object which I've defined here, and I'm going to return a promise in which I'll get the geocoder from the Google Maps and will pass on the address here. In the result, I'm going to get the lat and long in this particular manner, which I'm going to pass it in the resolve. So I hope it's easy for you to understand if you know about promises, which I have explained in a lot of videos. So this is how we will get the Latin long, which I am passing it here. Now once that is being passed, our main job is to get out of this for each loop and need to pass the value within our places array, right? So this places array should hold the particular values. Now in order to do that, if I just pass directly this dot places will be equals to autocomplete items. Okay, let's check it out. What do we get here? And in the catch one, I'll just pass the log here because we are not using it very frequently now. When just for the functionality we are using it, we are not throwing and fetching it here. So I think that's fine. Or you can just pass some error toast message also if you want to. Now you can see if I just try to like do something here, you will see the results in this particular log. Let's try this now. I'll just pass Stanford. Let's see what do we get. You can see some results are coming up and it is showing up here directly. That's in fact great. And let's check it out once again. What do we get actually in the prediction one? So each and every prediction is coming up where we have the description, the match strings, places, and the structure formatted where we have the main text. That is what I'm taking for the title one. All right, you have the place ID also if you want to keep that for any tracking part or something. Then you have certain types. So you can just look into the documentation that not the documentation, you can just look into this log, what exactly you are getting and where it is located and everything is given. So this data is coming up. Now I want to that's fine. But if you face some problem with this particular data, then what you can do is you can use observables. And with the help of observables, you can resolve this problem if it is not coming up in one go. All right, so that's what you can do here. For the timing, it is coming up and I don't think I need to make a change here. So let me just log the value and check what exactly I'm getting in the final result. This dot places, and along with that in the HTML, what am I going to do for the ion item? I'm going to pass a class with ion margin top so that there is some spacing and it will look better. Once that is done, I think we are good to go. Let's try this now. Let me look for Karol Bagh. So where is this Karol Bagh? Let's search it. It's showing New Delhi and a lot of related results are coming up. And it's only giving you the 5 results because I think beyond that, if you want more results, definitely you need to get the premium version of Google Maps or you need to enroll for something. I think that is what's shown in the Google. I have not tried more than that because this is quite enough to work with. Maximum the top 5 results are fine to work with. If you want some more precise, you need to give more description to the address. That's what I think. Okay, so what exactly we are getting in the final places? Well, the final places one, you can see it is empty here, so it is just tracking one by one or something. It is not coming up in one go, so it's better to work with the observables here. Let me just show you the observable part because if you face some problem. So let's work with the observables now, and in order to do with that, I'm going to implement few things very quickly, for which I am using ng on init and on destroy. So these are the 2 things, which one is for the subscription one. I'm going to subscribe to the value for any change and will look for it. Then this is the one which is going to look for any changes and throw it in the next function. Okay, then in order to get the subscription, I'm going to use a getter called search places, which is going to return this particular value as observable. So this is what I have prepared. Now simply we need to use it here. So this dot places sub will be equals to this dot places, or not exactly places, search places, because this is what I'm using it for the getter, and I can subscribe to this. While subscribing, there is a new feature that is introduced from I think Angular 15 onwards, that you can use next and error instead of directly passing it. So let me just show you. We have to pass next here. Then in the next, you can simply look for the value that will be coming up, say like places, and simply work with the callback here. So this dot places will be equals to places here. That's what I'm going to initialize. And if you have any error, you can simply pass on the error in this particular manner. All right, so it's almost the same stuff, but it is more easier to make you understand that you need to work with the next function and the error one here. Okay, so if there is any error, I'm going to log it. Fine. So once that is done, our subscription is done. Now we need to unsubscribe also at the very end when this page is destroyed, otherwise there will be memory leak. So you need to make sure that you are doing that. Places sub, if it is available, then this dot places sub dot unsubscribe, or you can use directly the async part also, means directly into the, without subscribing also you can work with in the HTML. I have shown that kind of videos also in the chat application also. I might have shown that, so you can just check that out. All right, so this is done. Now how to change the value, because we are directly initializing it. Instead of initializing it here, what am I going to do? I'm going to pass the observables here. This is what the comment that I have passed here, and I'm initializing the value and passing it in the next function in the underscore places one. So in this particular manner, whenever there is any change, it's going to detect pretty nicely. So you won't face any problem. You can try both the ways. Okay, that is why I've kept it in a commented manner so that you can try it out. So now let's check it whether it works or not as expected. So I'm going to look for SouthX, any address I have given, and it is showing the results. So I'm happy with this too. So this is what I wanted to show you, how to work with the Google Maps Places one. So with this, I'll wrap up this lecture here. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and hit the like button if you like this particular video. So I'm going to see you next time. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy, and keep coding.